I think the Pistons own the East. I think the Red Wings had a nice little surge from that Olympic break. Um, and I think they're actually a playoff contender. I need you to like, I need you to subscribe. This is the Fan Forum. I'm Mark, and you're about to get some Hermdo in a minute. All right. Well, first of all, we're doing this subscription contest right now, guys, where there's a free hoodie giveaway, right? It's the same hoodie I'm wearing, I wear all the time. It's a champion hoodie. It's on the fourth wall. You can pick out different colors. It doesn't have to be blue. Um, but what we're trying to do is the first person. So basically, how it works. You subscribe to the video, you like it, you follow us, you write in the comments. The minute we get 500 subscribers, we're going to put everybody in a raffle, and we're going to draw a name, and you get a free hoodie. I just don't know how much more simple it can be. So if you're somebody who listens to us that's a fellow friend of ours, mine, Hermdo's, Hitch, um, whoever, Wayne, however you found us, whether it's just random or not, make sure you're actually subscribed. There's a lot of people that listen to us weekly that just have never subscribed on YouTube. Doesn't cost anything. You just hit a button and then you get notified when we go live, like I am right now. So, everybody make sure before we even get into that stratosphere and start talking sports, I need you guys to make sure you're doing that right now. So, please do that. Thank you. With that being said, I want to think about this from a Detroit sports fan perspective. Um, Cade Cunningham has done every single thing that you want, that you could have ever imagined. Cade Cunningham is, in my opinion, the clear MVP. I don't know if you haven't been watching basketball or you've been living under a rock, but this guy just, he shows up, right? In a league right now where, in my opinion, it's wide open. Um, I personally think that when it comes to Cade, you're getting somebody who controls the pace of the game, right? Um, which is huge. So you just look at this situation right now, and it's kind of an under the radar sports situation, right? Cade is not that fiery, loudmouth, take to social media. He's quiet. He's a floor general, but he's starting to dominate games to where you cannot ignore anything else about this guy. So let's just take a moment, right, um, to appreciate what he's doing. Okay, with that being said, um, obviously tonight they're playing the San Antonio Spurs. Now this is a gauntlet matchup, right? This is one of many, in my opinion. I think that you're going to have um, the next, So let's set this straight. I'm good with them on the Eastern Conference, right? Can everybody agree with that? Boston is always obviously still a contender, but they're sweeping the Knicks. They're dominating the Knicks. Now, obviously, there's always the dark horse in the Eastern Conference, but now it's really going to be the true test. We've seen Cade go out west and win against big teams, big markets, big players under the spotlight. Right now, he's got kind of the other half of the gauntlet coming home to him for him to put on display and say, this is the tone I want to set, right? Um, you've got guys like Victor Wembanyama, you've got guys like Chet Holmgren coming in here in the next couple days, and it's going to be a true test to see how these Pistons can handle this, right? Um, my biggest thing is, who's not confident right now in this game? Ooh, we got somebody in the chat. Look at this. Dr. Nadu says, "What's up?" See, this is why I did this, guys, because the last couple lives you guys haven't been able to join or hang out in. And last night, obviously, I was unexpectedly preoccupied with some family stuff. We weren't able to do our Sunday night live. So I figured, hey, I'll come on here. I'm sure the doctor will come on. Maybe the Duke comes on and talks a little shit. Um, but appreciate you being in the chats. And then obviously Hermdo. I'm about 98% sure we're going to get some Hermdo tonight. And I also want to start tonight as um, I don't say the countdown, but we're going to start counting down the last time Hitch was on here. So I'm going to go back in a couple minutes, and because we got him sitting here in the waiting room too. And before we bring him in, I want to think about, okay, how long has it been since we've had the old Podfather on, right? So before we bring him on, before we bring him behind those curtains, um, sitting here right next to me, got him upstairs in the kitchen right now. He's got a couple rocks in him. We'll see how long I can keep him up there, and we'll bring him down and we'll talk about, hey, why has it been, I don't know, 685 episodes since you've been missing? Um, we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll get back to him. What I do want to get into, though, like I mentioned, is the Cade Cunningham comments. Now, if you think about this, it's probably been since, okay, 20 some years since we've had a reputable basketball team here in Detroit. Now, that's not easy to build. Each team that we've had in the last, I don't know, 20 to 40 years, right? They've been built in kind of unique fashion, right? All internal, all homegrown, all drafted. Not easy to do in the NBA. Not easy to do, especially when you had the big three era where everybody was basically saying, you are not going to build a championship basketball team without the big three. You need to find the big three and do what Boston did in 2008, or do what Miami did with LeBron and Wade and Bosh, and the list goes on. We all know what that looked like for a long time, actually. It's hard to do this where you are given a, especially when it's a new owner, new GMs, young coaches, and you're saying, I'm going to give you something that um, we don't get much often as a Detroit Pistons fan as a first round, the first pick in the draft. Just doesn't happen a lot for us, right? Even when we rightfully should get it, San Antonio, we don't. So the fact that we were gifted one of those years where, okay, we got a shot at drafting somebody who's going to potentially be our last stab at a Hail Mary on rebuilding this thing, i.e., Cade Cunningham. I don't think anybody doubted this guy from day one, but they wanted to just see what he looked like as a pro as he develops. Skill set's already there. It's more of, okay, can he play in the big moment? You start seeing all these big moments. And some of them at first it was like, eh, is he really going to be the effective one? Then he gets hurt. Okay, that just shot everything right there and then. You always wonder how they're going to rebound after they get hurt. Comes back to those big moments, right? Okay, we know what you can do. You're still a ball handler. You're still Cade. You're still strong. You're still smart. But can you be more effective from the leadership side? Can you win us the big games? We make some big moves. We get some veteran pieces in. I think he has a season with Beasley and a couple of those fellas that he credits at kind of saying, all right, that's the season that got me into the more leadership developmental role where we wanted to get um, him more involved in the vocal side of the game. And after that, man, it's been absolutely awesome seeing what Cade Cunningham can do, not only on the court, but with his surrounding players, right? When you find a guy like Dennis Jenkins on a two-way contract, or you find, even Levert, man, Duncan Robinson, and you find all these guys that he can just work with. Duran, raw, young, another draft pick. Will he work out? Super young, has all the intangibles. Is this guy going to do anything? Turns out it's like the best 1-2 combo right now in the NBA, right? So is this a Shaq and Kobe situation where it's just deadly? I mean, and those are big names and big shoes to fill, and I'm just saying it because it's the first thing that comes to my head. But in all reality, um, that's something we need to take a look at. And I know it's Detroit, right? But it's been done before. And you see some of these players too. We have like Beef Stew. Okay, these guys draw comparisons to all of our past championship teams, whether it's Rick Mahorn or Rasheed Wallace. But you've got loud, big, effective, strong, um, all about the game type players. And that's why I'm saying it's so interesting to see that as the game of basketball has evolved from the 80s and 90s to how I know we all love the game into the early 2000s, where you started to see kind of that big three mentality pick up. And it was like, okay, everything is like, almost kind of building your own crime family. And it's like, how much money are we going to throw at it? How many guys are we going to, put on the team and say, okay, essentially you're the one running the team as the player. And then what does that do with a coach? And it just kind of got things weird and muddied the waters. But now I think back, we're a situation in the NBA where you're seeing teams like, even Charlotte, the way they drafted that team, right? There's some good grinding ass basketball teams where it's fun to watch them play. I prefer that much more than your big three drama filled 3v3 tournament style basketball that we saw for the first, I don't know, or not the first, but the last 15 to 20 years. Um, but that's just my opinion. Who am I to say? But you can put it in the comments. Let me know what you think. Um, and I'm always interested to hear what everybody's got to say about the Pistons and basketball. This just isn't a Lions podcast, guys. I do talk about basketball. We got Hermdo on here to talk about the Red Wings and the Tigers. Hopefully, he'll be able to jump on soon. But it's funny. I was talking to some friends of mine, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, how's the podcast going?" I'm like, "Oh, it's going good, man. I need to have you on." And they're like, "Well, I don't really know much about sports." I'm like, "No, it's okay. It's about Detroit." So I do want to encourage people to put in the comments or let us know too some things you want us to talk about. We have a wide variety now that we're just beyond a Lions podcast. I'll be honest, this did start as a Lions podcast. But like I said, when Hitch comes on in a little bit, he can tell you how it's evolved into something a little bit bigger and better. And I think that's why he's been away for so long, doing some stuff with some investors. Let's put it that way. But all right, so back to the Detroit sports, um, not a Lions podcast conversation. Speaking of that, I did see, and Hermdo sent me a note about the Detroit Lions possibly being interested in Myles Garrett trade. And I'm thinking, man, is that good clickbait headline? So let's just be honest, guys. I can't give you two clickbait headlines in a row. Last time we did a Max Crosby trade rumor, and I put it right in there, and then I got some flack that um, it should have been, oh, I can't believe you teased me with that. And it's like, dude, we're deep into the off season for football. Even if you thought that was a reality, do you think right now is when they'd make the call about that? So you shall remain nameless. But yeah, so I just thought to myself, he sends me that screenshot today, and it's like Dan Graziano, ESPN, and I'm sure what it is ESPN probably just picks your team, and the algorithm just gives you some like goofy headline of, and they probably own the rights to Dan Graziano and just say he can say whatever he wants, but it threw out the idea of Myles Garrett um, being available for a trade, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm getting called out for the Max Crosby shit. How unrealistic is this? This guy just signs a mega contract that no one's going to be able to hold on to right now. Why is he any better than getting Max Crosby here? So we can talk about that. I just don't see that as a realistic option. Um, I always talk about understanding Brad Holmes and knowing what Brad Holmes does, and these aren't Brad Holmes moves. That's why when we talk about Max Crosby or Myles Garrett, Hitch did bring up the point of what would you do, and I said, well, what would I do versus the reality of what will Brad Holmes do is how much does Brad Holmes like this guy, and I don't think there's much to hate about either guy, but to make you go after two big guys like that with massive contracts, I just don't see it happening. Now, obviously, Myles Garrett comes to the Detroit Lions. Holy shit. Yeah. It's not even fair, dude. It's not even fair. There should be a handicap in some of those games. But it's just not going to happen. I think what's even bigger news is that Ben Johnson hypes up our offensive coordinator. He says it's a match made in heaven, which I guess just goes to show you that it really is no hard feelings. But um, speaking of hard feelings, Jesus Christ, here comes the do. Wow, not only do you troll, but you steal my takes. What takes do you have? The only takes you have is that Brad Holmes is a terrible general manager and that you're excited that your Bears are moving to Gary, Indiana. That's the only thing I know about. But yeah. Anyways. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I bring to you Hermdo.
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
Hermdo, what's up?
Same shit, different day, my friend. I got a new Red Wings hat, though. Check it out.
I was going to say, the first thing I noticed is you got a new Red Wings hat, and I like it.
Yeah. Thank you. It was very expensive, but worth it.
Well, I'll tell you what. You just missed my point where I just got done going over Cade Cunningham, MVP. I know you did a beautiful job on your video that just came out, too.
Yeah.
Go check that out. But, you know, we dipped it to a little bit of Lions talk, and I can't believe that Ben Johnson's hyping up our offensive coordinator hire now. So it's a match made in heaven.
Oh, really? I didn't see that. I didn't. I was not aware that Ben Johnson had said anything about our buddy Petzing. That's interesting to say the least. Interesting to see what Ben Johnson has to say about this kind of Drew Petzing. That's his name, but yeah, very interesting. What do you make of this, Mark?
Well, you know what? Like our good friend on here, the dude was saying he's tired of me calling him a Bears fan. He's tired of me trolling him. I said, you know what? Okay, they're moving to Gary, Indiana. I'll move on. I'll leave it alone. It's going to be fun. I really think that this goes to show that these are just jobs, man. It's all these guys are doing it for. These are careers. They respect each other. I think it adds more flame to the fire, too, when not only can they shit talk each other in season, but the coaches can praise each other, too, and say, hey, that's a great move. I love how that is. Because let's be honest, man, we love Ben Johnson still. We appreciate everything he did here. We're going to bust his chops, but
of course,
there's no hate against Ben Johnson. That's just us being Detroiters.
I think some of the Ben Johnson hate. I mean, you see some of these guys on Facebook like bitching about him. Like you see some of these tier lists they make up, you know, during the Lions season, and Ben Johnson's one of the guys in the hate you forever category, along with like Matt Patricia and Matt Millen and all those other douchebags.
No,
I was just like, I mean, Ben Johnson, you know, he brought our team to heights never seen before, and I still value his opinion. I guess. I mean, he still was a quintessential part of kind of the Lions rebuild. And so I think the Drew Petzing thing, you know, as we talked about before in previous weeks, it was kind of like a the Arizona Cardinals guy. But, you know, he's the move has kind of grown on me. Some of the statements he's made in the last few weeks. He seems to be very, very excited, very grateful for the opportunity. I think he's going to bring a new dimension to this Lions offense. And I'm excited to see. I'm excited for next season. And but, yeah, I mean, Ben Johnson, he wasn't like bad mouthing the team. He wasn't like doing all this shit. We wound up beating the Bears twice last season. You know, the new look Bears with their new offense and stuff. And you know, the Bears, you know, they won the division title under Ben Johnson. You know, and I think he's probably going to turn out to be a pretty good coach. I mean, like we know we make fun of Caleb Williams, but the guy is still a solid quarterback. You know, but he is. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how the Chicago Bears evolve. They're going to have a tough schedule next year, but so Ben Johnson's got his hands full right now. But I appreciate anything, you know. I mean, you know, there's no, I don't have any bad feelings for the guy. I mean, like, there's so many other Lions staffers and Lions players. Maybe not the players so much, but you know, there's so many people from Lions history throughout our lives who we just hate and hope never come back and get nothing but disgust for. But you know, I don't really think Ben Johnson.
No,
Ben Johnson's not really one of them. He's pretty if he's on the list, he's pretty low on the list considering some of the absolute assholes we had running this organization. So it's all good. I mean, I can name a few people that are definitely more worthy of hate than Ben Johnson, but so I appreciate his opinion, and looking forward to the next Lions season, seeing what our buddy Drew Petzig, also with Mike Kafka, can see what those guys bring to this Lions offense. So we'll see.
Kafka Express.
Yes, it's very Kafka-esque.
Well, I don't know why he called me a cheesehead, but yes, I'm done calling you a Bears fan. You've proved to me, sir, that you are a Lions fan. You're just one of those, we'll call it boomer Lions fans, right? Nothing's ever going to please you. So, we did talk a little bit about this, right? He goes, this week will go a long way to determine if Cade is MVP. Why this week, though?
Yep.
Because I brought that up because they went out west to play in a gauntlet of these teams, and he won. He's won at home. He's swept the Knicks, right? Even if he goes 1-1 against the Thunder and the Spurs, right?
Yeah.
Why? I don't know. For me right now, the way this guy's playing is just next level. Everything we could ask plus more. He's scary, dude. Cade is scary right now. I'm excited.
Cade is frightening. And he's finally getting his due. He's finally getting his daps, as the kids used to say. Yeah. But he's definitely a guy. I mean, he's definitely in the MVP conversation. He's one of those guys, kind of, just to stand out on a bad team, and now he's really turned this franchise around. I know I've mentioned it before, but I remember Skip Bayless all talking about how, Cade Cunningham's not a franchise-altering player. I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, I'm not putting him on the level of like LeBron or, something like that, but I mean, the guy's really taken this team. He is the main driver of that offense, and he's creating usually by himself. I mean, Jalen Duren's been helping him out, and he's got some good defensive play from guys like, Asar Thompson and, of course, Isaiah Stewart. But slapping around, that's the one thing. The thing what put Cade in the conversation was that performance against the New York Knicks in 100%. Madison Square Garden with Fat Joe, with Tracy Morgan, with all the big wigs,
yep.
with all the other Hollywood douchebags in there. All the people, it's just the standard like celebrities. I love that New York shit. We get it. You're East Coast. You're special. Fuck off. The Midwest is best. And Cade and the Pistons proved that. The motorcade ran through Madison Square Garden, beat them by 15 points without Jalen Duren serving a suspension, without Isaiah Stewart. They went in there, slapped them around. Jalen Brunson was a non-factor. It's just Cade over 42 and what do you have? 13 assists. The first player, I mentioned it in my video, the first player with 40 and 10 in Madison Square Garden since LeBron James way back in 2009. So, yeah, Cade,
peak LeBron.
I tell you, man, he's arrived.
Not LeBron now, but peak LeBron. No, he has arrived.
Peak LeBron.
And everyone's afraid of him. You can get your Stephen A. Smith sound bites. You can get your Kendrick Perkins sound bites, right? He's the only thing he's afraid of is healthy food and Cade Cunningham and blah, 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 blah. Right, basketball. But it's more than just that, though. It's what they've put around him, right? And it's now what they know when they put something around him, what he can do to that. Like, look what he's doing with Dennis Jenkins. Look what he's doing with the bench.
Yes.
Look what he's doing with Paul Reed, right? They call him B-Ball Paul, and he puts up 14 points on the bench when Jalen Duren puts up 25, and they're playing in the same role. He puts up 20-something when Jalen Duren's out and does every single thing you need him to be, and doesn't get emotional and doesn't get nasty. And you just had these guys that not only when they're on the court with JB Bickerstaff, but it's what they're doing with Cade. And there's certain guys right now in the NBA that are premier level players that I can tell you right now do not positively affect their floor like Cade Cunningham does. That's why he's MVP, dude.
Yeah. One thing I love about Cade, I agree with everything you said. You made a lot of good points there. One thing I love about Cade is the maturity. Yeah. Now, he's only been in the league a few years, but the guy has a great attitude with it. He's very businesslike. He's very mature. He doesn't, he's not about the drama. He's not about the bullshit. He's not an egomaniac. Nope. He's not some guy that's driving down I-75 going 120 in his Lamborghini. He's not a guy that fucks around. He's not a guy that, gets in the tabloids for all sorts of crazy shit. He's not some nut job. He's just a steady, he approaches it with a workman-like very healthy, balanced like attitude, and he knows how important he is to this team. He accepts that. It seems, he hits all the right notes. I mean, the guy, he's a humble dude. He's everything you want in a superstar. He's a guy that lives and breathes Detroit basketball. He is the face of the franchise. I can't say enough good things about him. Quite frankly, I think he's the best athlete in Detroit. I think it's Cade. Well, maybe you put Tarek Skubal in there. Maybe you put whoever in there. But, I mean, for me, it's Cade. For me, the number one is Cade, and you put some other guys in there. But I think the guy's he delivers and delivers and delivers. And he remade probably the most mediocre to mid to just downright shitty basketball franchise in the league in only a couple of years. And now we're now we're in finals conversations. The East runs through Detroit, and that is in no small part to our good friend of the show, Cade Cunningham, your friend and mine, Cade Cunningham. But
good point.
I mean, the guy's just next level.
Good point, because you talked about it and you said, okay, he's the best athlete in the city of Detroit right now. And then it got me thinking, okay, there's already a topic you can do. The top athletes in the city of Detroit, game-changing. Cade Cunningham, I seriously think is number one, followed up with Amon-Ra St. Brown, followed up with Tarek Skubal, followed up with, I don't know who that last person is, and we can talk about that. But yes, when you look at the picture of a player and you think about, okay, from the Lions' perspective, if there's a player on the field that is going to be there 24/7 for you on the Lions, it's St. Brown. You can say what you want. I love Hutch. We all love Hutch. We all love Goff. We all love J-Mo, and Gibbs.
Yep.
But, dude, when St. Brown is in the game, we win the fucking ball game. That guy is a game-changing athlete, not only with his body, but with his mouth, with his brain, with his presence, right? That guy is next level. But I seriously think Cade Cunningham surpasses him from that energy of holy shit, he's out there. Now we know that with baseball, when Skubal's on the mound, it's early Verlander of we could see a no-hitter. Holy shit. If this guy gives up one hit, we're kind of disappointed. But that only comes at time with baseball, because you're only going to get that ever so many games, right? The Red Wings, though, Hermdo, you're donning that sweater right now. We just went to the Olympics. One of our Red Wings just won gold, right? Dylan Larson.
Yes. Played a quintessential part on that team, yes.
Did he ever? Would you say that you could name any of the Red Wings and put them in the top athlete in the fourth spot? Or are you going to give that next spot to a Tiger, a Piston, a Lion?
I'm going to go ahead.
Do you think the Dew is the number 4?
The Dew doesn't deserve it. I'm sorry, Dew. You're really slacking off lately, man. You got to put more effort in. But you know what? If I had to give, I'm a wing nut. I'm one of those guys. If I had to put the number 4 Detroit athlete, if I had to pick the number 4 Detroit athlete, it's got to be Mo Sider. The guy's playing next level. Guy is making his Norris Trophy case. The guy came in. He was a nobody. Everyone's like, who the fuck is Moritz Seider? We wasted the 6th overall pick in 2019. What the fuck are we doing? But Mo Sider came in. He was a huge part of that German offense. He's a guy. He eats up 26, 27 minutes a night. He's an elite defender. He's shutting people down. He's playing a physical game. He's all over the ice. He's one of these guys that drives the play. He's one of these guys you can absolutely depend on. He plays with the maturity. And, you got guys like Cale Makar out there, other dudes like that, dudes. But, I think, Moritz Seider, he's the one of the preeminent defensemen in the league. I make a case, maybe he's got to be in the top 3, as far as the Norris, voting goes. And that we're going to get more into that, talking about individual awards later in the hockey season and talk about who deserves what and whatnot. But, I think Moritz Seider needs to be in that discussion. And Moritz Seider's another guy. I mean, all my Detroit athletes, everybody is just so mature and well-behaved. I got to love no hot dogs, like Mr. Illich said, no hot dogs in the bunch. But, Moritz Seider's just a guy who quietly does his job. He gets a lot of praise. He's one of these guys out there who just takes care of business. Yep. He's just out there. He's dependable. He'd be a top 4. He'd be a top line defenseman in any league. And I'm sorry, any team in the league. Definitely a top pairing guy, one of the quintessential, defensemen out there. And not to take anything away from Lucas Raymond, but I mean, Sider's the best pick Eiserman has made as GM of the Red Wings,
Well, you
bar
answered my
none.
question. I mean, that's exactly what I was looking for because, like I said, I'm still going jersey hunting, and the way I look at this is I go into these stores and I see whose jerseys are hanging up. Now, it's funny. We went into the Rally House, which I know they're a huge sponsor of ours, and we love them so much. Thank you for listening.
Yes.
But I went into Rally House and I thought to myself, it's this big monster store where there's jerseys everywhere. Now, Tom, you and I grew up in the 90s. We've been over that before. When we
Yeah.
walked into a hockey, or not a hockey store, when we walked into a Detroit sports apparel store back then, it was going to be primarily Red Wings dominant. You were going to get Red Wings, a lot of Red Wings. I mean, everybody had it all over.
Yep.
Secondary to that, you were going to get some Tigers mixed in with some Pistons, depending on the era of the 90s or 2000s. Always going to give you some Tigers. And then Lions, it was laughable. You were going to get a Barry Sanders jersey.
You had Sanders, and that was it. You had Sanders, and that was it.
That was it, right? The clothing, even the Lions clothing was ugly. I walked into this place, dude. It was like every fucking Lions player on there. Red Wings, though, it was very slim. It was Mo Sider, it was Yzerman, it was Chelios, and that was it. That's all I That's all I could get. So I'm curious to see when are my Sandine Pellica jerseys and all these other jerseys going to start flooding the market. Now, maybe it's this season, right after this season, then it'll be this high demand. But
I mean,
every freaking Lions player, dude, it was insane.
Oh yeah, they're all over the place. Go to Dick's Sporting Goods, go wherever. You're going to see a ton of Lions stuff. I mean, it's all over the place. But yeah, I mean, as far as Red Wings go, I mean, you got guys like DeBrincat who's probably going to eclipse, the 40 goal point, at this year. You got a guy like Dylan Larkin who, and look, I've been critical of Dylan. I've said maybe some harsh things about the guy, but he's still the Detroit captain. He's still my captain, so. I still love Dylan, and he was a quintessential part of that old U.S. men's gold medal. And they put him out there on that against the power play, probably the greatest modern power play unit ever developed. They had him out there with Werenski and with Hughes and all them. Dylan Larkin took care of business on that last shift, on that last play. He did what he had to do. He was stepped up defensively. So I'm so glad he's got his gold medal. I'm so fucking glad for him. I'm so happy. I'm proud of him. God bless him. But yeah, you see some Dylan Larkin jerseys. You're going to see some Mo Sider, some Lucas Raymond. But, in the future, are you going to see some Marco Kasper? You might see some Sandine Pellicas. He's coming up. You're going to see some Simone Edvinson. You're going to see some, who else? Nate Danielson. A lot of these guys up in here. But, we're talking about, maybe, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Kane's still a big seller. Just like it still kind of blows my mind that he's on the Red Wings. I remember us signing him a couple of years ago. I'm just like, really? That Patrick Kane? But, that's kind of just I would want to own a Kane Red Wings jersey just for like the curiosity's sake of it, just for kind of like this is kind of wild. But
we said the same thing with Chelios, and now 25 years later, his jersey still is hanging up as a Red Wings jersey.
You gotta love Chelly, baby. You gotta love Chelly.
You do, and it's really about what you do for me now, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it's I don't know. I mean, like the Red Wings, it's just as they're currently assembled, they got good players on that team. They're not like they don't really have the superstar, the it guy, the top top six forward that brings you 100 points. They don't really have the Nikita Kucherovs or the what's his name. Connor McDavid's or the Austin Matthews. They don't have like the superstars, but it's one of those teams that like it's more of a thing. It's more of like a regional kind of thing. But hockey is a regional thing, and the Wings. People still love the Wings. They demand Wings hockey. That those arenas still sell out. You still see a lot of Wings fans. We should know.
Tons.
They're all in our comment section saying shit, but.
We get the most comments from Wings fans, dude.
Yeah,
the
Wings fans are nuts.
The Lions fans are super roller coastery and emotional, and they are either all the fuck in or all the fuck out. And it's crickets when something insignificant happens during the football season, but Wings fans, it could be in the middle of a 90-degree summer day where there's no fucking hockey, and you do a video on, something that happened in the off season, and these guys go on a novel of a fucking opinion, which to me is awesome. So kudos to you too for dragging
Yeah,
it out of them.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, wings are still a hot topic. I mean, obviously, when you're the dominant hockey franchise of the 90s and 2000s, when you're pretty much the only relevant franchise, I mean, save for the Pistons in '04, but I mean, during the 90s, it was the Wings. I mean, the early 90s, you had like the 1990 Pistons stuff, but like throughout, throughout the 90s, it was the Wings and nobody else. It was the Wings and nobody else, But yeah, it's just one of those things. I mean, people still love the Wings. And they're still, I mean, we love our Wings. We love, when they succeed. We're really hoping and praying that they make it through March without falling flat on their faces. But this could be a big season for them. I think, I was talking about this on my last episode I made for you. But we're talking about like free agency. They have $60 million in cap space. I think they're going to go after some people. I think Stevie is going to pull the trigger now. I know in previous seasons, maybe he was kind of hesitant to do it because he kind of saw like the direction of the team. But I got to believe that this team needs to add some pieces. I think guys should,
who do you think,
definitely.
I'm seeing a lot of this right now where it goes, Red Wings being a destination, Yzerman looking to be a buyer. Tell me names, Hermdo, because you're right.
Sure.
We don't have these Austin Matthews and these studs that we saw in the Olympics, where it's like, dude, if we had firepower like that, like we used to, right? Like, we see what Larkin's capable of, and we've said it 1,000 times when he's got some firepower behind him. And let's admit it, the guys in the past had firepower around them. So who are we going to bring in that's just a little more battle tested, that takes this team, like we saw with the Pistons a while back or last year, and says, guys, this is how it's done, and then ignites that fucking fire? Who is it?
Well, the two big areas of concern with the Wings, and I brought this up in my video. You should go subscribe to Detroit Fan Forum and go watch it. But we'll bring it up again on stream just to for posterity's sake. Now we got some names here. We got Ryan O'Reilly from Nashville, who has been heavily linked to the Wings. Nashville is sitting outside the playoff picture, but O'Reilly's playoff pedigree and leadership are seen as the perfect reward for a young locker room. You could slot him in, probably be, second line center behind Larkin, maybe even play some first line minutes. A guy like that. We also got Robert Thomas from St. Louis. St. Louis has kind of been mid for the last few seasons. They're probably going to be rebuilding or in the middle of a rebuild. I don't know. I don't really know the status of St. Louis currently, but they probably have to part with the 2026 first round pick. But I say, part with it, baby. Part with it. We got to start building for the future. Stevie Y has to crack open the war chest at one point. Robert Thomas is a plus player. None of these guys are like, they're probably not going to set the world on fire, but they could definitely be an antidote for some of the Red Wings issues up the middle or down the middle, I should say, as far as centers go. And then we got Vinny Trocheck from the New York Rangers. Rangers, their perfect rebuild kind of fell apart. They looked like real threats coming out of the Metropolitan Conference, for a few years, but they just kind of fell flat on their face. They missed the playoffs last year, probably going to miss the playoffs again this year. They are struggling. So Vinny Trocheck's a big name out there. I don't know how official it is that he's been linked to the Wings, but he's a guy, he's got a guy. He has a lot of grit, face-off dominance, 58% face-off wins. That would be a big upgrade for the middle six in Detroit. So look for those three names. We got Ryan O'Reilly, Vincent Trocheck, and Robert Thomas as far as centers go, but also stabilizing the blue line. You're going to need a top four pairing or a top four guy, definitely, to complement Seider and Edvinsson. Axel Sandin Pellikka, he's kind of been sheltered in late game situations. They're going to need somebody to eat minutes up, maybe not the level of Seider, but somebody who could definitely contribute. You got Justin Falk, again, from St. Louis, just like Robert Thomas. He's the ideal fit. He's a right-shot veteran, which the Red Wings desperately need, and he can eat 20 minutes a night and has 1 year left on a manageable contract, acting as a bridge until the younger prospects are ready for top four duties. So you kind of put the burden on him and give Axel Sandin Pellikka a little more little more seasoning, a little more time to get his act together. But yeah, we also have Mackenzie Weegar from Calgary. Calgary's another interesting team. They were a hot commodity for a while, and then they lost Matthew Tkachuk, and then they're kind of just middling crap. But he's a versatile defender. He's been linked to Detroit since the start of the year. He plays with an edge and the Red Wings definitely are a team that could use a little bit of edge.
Yep.
Sometimes they're a little passive, but he's definitely a guy that could kind of add some physicality to the team and kind of show the young guys how it's done. You also got to consider how young this team is. You're going to want a veteran presence, playoff experience, and all that good stuff. But you want a plus player. You don't want to, kick the tires on somebody. That was MO for a while after the championship days. You had kind of the late stage Ken Holland days where they bring in some 39-year-old guy to come here and be like, well, he won a cup 14 years ago, so he knows what it's all about. It's just like, yeah. But we also have Andrew Peak from Boston. Now, Boston's still in the middle of it. They're kind of competing with Buffalo in the standings, but if Boston kind of shits the bed, they might be looking to part for the guy. But he's kind of a more affordable depth option. He might get moved for a second-round pick if Boston values picks right now. So that's definitely an addition. I'm not. That's none of these names are really super duper, but
it's like,
yeah,
it's to me.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Do what you got to do. Make the moves.
If he doesn't, yeah,
then
you got to make some moves.
Then we're like, what's the point, right? We kind of.
What's the fucking point?
I said this about Scott Harris.
Yeah.
I kind of said, "Oh, Scott Harris, you're not going to do shit. You're going to get rid of Skubal. You're going to sign a bunch of shitty ass pitchers who are old and not pay him, whatever. You're going to just firebomb this whole thing."
Yeah.
He did the opposite, and it was like, "Oh, okay." So I hope that CBY goes out and does exactly what you said. I mean, obviously not to the T, but he goes out with the ferocity, with the money and the picks, and says, all right, I've given you my plan. I've let you guys sit with these young guys, and you're excited. And now here's my commitment to the next step, which would be, I think, hopefully to no one's surprise, right? The way he saved his money, the way he saved his picks. But we'll see. As you say, we'll see. We'll see.
Yes, we'll
Are
see.
Those Gucci sunglasses,
but one thing about
chance?
No, these are cheap shit ones. I bought these at a party store in Grand Rapids for like $15.
Damn.
But thank you though. But one point, the Tigers thing, we can touch on that. But the one thing that shows me, they're expanding their payroll, probably the highest in team history, to about $240 million. So Chris Ilitch has opened his pocketbook, and I definitely think that is a good sign for the Red Wings because, as we know, Ilitch owns both the Wings and the Tigers. And I think that means, there is an urgency here. There's an urgency to give this team a boost to actually be buyers. Oh, excuse me. But, yeah, I think that's a good sign. I think Ilitch is ready. I think, you got to turn up the heat on Stevie Yzerman's seat a little bit and be like, hey, bro, you got to start spending, man. You got to start bringing some names in here. Red Wings are at the cusp. You don't want to be a bubble team for another 5 years. You got to make those big plays. So I think, maybe Ilitch and Yzerman are like texting each other, be like, yeah, they're sitting on their beds with their feet in the air, just like with little slippers on, just giggling, like, ooh, who can we get? Who can we get? But I'm just being silly. But so I think that kind of means they're going to kind of take the blinders off and kind of let Steve Yzerman roam free and be like, yeah, you got my blessing. Go pick me up a Vinny Trocheck. Go get me
Ken
whoever.
Holland, there's some motherfucker. Just go up and start.
Yeah, no,
trades.
We're not. Oh God, they're trading. Yeah, trading first and second rounders for rentals just so you can lose in the first round, totally fuck your team over for the next decade. But God, the Wings were in such bad shape for a while. For all my frustrations with Yzerman, I'll take this iteration of the Red Wings over what the fuck Ken Holland was doing. Ilitch was seen talking to Skubal at camp. Ooh, I wonder what they discussed. Hopefully a longer contract.
Cash, just watch.
Hopefully cash. Pay that young man. Everything bodes well. I think, I don't know. Maybe we send enough negativity Ilitch's way. Maybe Chris Ilitch is finally like, people say, you're not like your dad. You're not like your dad. Your dad wanted to win no matter what. And maybe that finally got to him. Maybe it's like, okay,
Well,
fine. Here's $250 million for the Tigers, but I
Well,
don't
you
know.
know what? Let's be honest, guys. The reason why Mike Ilitch was who he was is because the stage of the life he was in, right? Um,
Yeah.
it's. Hold on. He says there's videos of it. Yeah, there's also videos of you on an island somewhere. You do. We're not going to talk about that.
Ooh,
No,
baby.
I believe that I do, and here was my point that I was trying to make. Right. Thank you for the comment. Is that Mike Ilitch was at the tail end of his life, and he was just
Yeah.
like, guys, I just want to go all in. Right now, the Red Wings thing in the '90s, he was obviously in. I don't want to say perennial predator stage, but he had the he had the George Steinbrenner mentality of the '90s as a businessman. That's who he was, right? So
Yeah.
that was fun to see, and it wasn't reckless in my opinion because we got so much out of it. Now he goes and you look at his son Chris. You're right. Wow. Um, he's completely different from his dad in that sense. He's in a different era of business. He's not at the tail end of his career. He has these franchises that the expectations as an owner is you're just going to go out and spend so much money. What would that have done? Clearly, honestly, what if he would have done Mike Ilitch stuff right now with the franchise the way they were in both the Tigers and both the Red Wings? We would be in dis a fucking ray, right? That
Yeah.
was to keep up with a pace that he almost set with all the years of drafting, right? Let's not forget the Dead Wing eras. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to keep people calm with this whole Chris Ilitch's and his dad thing. He's obviously not as
Okay.
media friendly, but I think this guy's going to do a really nice job. I think he proved it with Scott
Yeah.
Harris, right? I do think that um, I used to think Scott Harris was prank calling Tarek Skubal. I don't think that's happening anymore. I think they both looked at it from a business side and said, "We'll just go about his business as we can about this." But dude, in every which way, we want you here, but we also understand you want to be the highest paid. And I can only imagine how hard that is trying to like maintain especially in baseball, it's a long season, it's a slow pace, it's a slow this, and just not wanting to jump the gun and just get the contract done. But I
Yeah.
it I get the business side of things. I do.
hmm No, I understand what you're coming from. There are layers to this, and me as a fan, sometimes I get a little too excited. A lot of us
Right.
fans do. I've talked to plenty of people leaving comments, and you're just like, spend the money, spend the money, spend the money, spend the money. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of business, a lot of various, factors at play, and it's not always easy just to write a $250 million check, But yeah, so that's one thing. You got to temper your expectations a little bit. You got to just know the system is working. It looks like it's working for the Tigers, but the Wings, people saw the Wings win multiple championships. I think there's like a sense of impatience. We want relevant hockey back in Detroit. And, with all the other teams, like, the Pistons are being mentioned in the same, like, sentence, in the same breath as, like, a championship. The Pistons could be championship contenders. Tigers, now the ring talk is back for the first time since like 2014. Could this team actually go and get a World Series appearance or get a World Series victory? That's in the that's in the ether. That's on the top of people's minds now, especially with this little pitching bonanza we got going on. The Lions kind of had a bad season last year, but they're linked to a lot of people. We'll see what Brad Holmes does, but you still say the Lions. I still believe their Super Bowl window is open. Maybe it closed slightly, but I got to believe that Brad Holmes is. Yeah, it's altered, but I got to believe the championship is still the goal, and I got to believe that mentioning the Lions and Super Bowl isn't quite too ridiculous. But when it comes to the Wings have not really had. I mean, when's the last time you saw a Wings team and actually thought Stanley Cup or actually had that thought in your head? It's been like 15, 16 years.
It really has.
So yeah, it has been a long, long time, probably since the days of Marian Hossa and Brad Stewart. But it's been a while for the Wings, and we want another. We want to be hockey town again. God damn it, we want to be able to hoist another cup. I'd love to see Dylan Larkin carrying a cup around home ice at almost at Joe Louis Arena, but Little Caesars Arena. But we love to see that again. And this little free agency period, this little trade deadline, that could be something. We could imagine saying Red Wings and Stanley Cup. Red Wings, being a Stanley Cup contender for the first time in like 15, 16 years. That would feel so good. But you know what? Yeah,
it would just be nice for
another,
the window to get a little bit wider. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. The window, it's cracked open slightly, but we still have, they're still considered. I mean, look, until they actually secure a playoff spot, they're still a bubble team.
Yep.
And they've come a ways in the last few years. There has been positive momentum in the Yzerman era, but as far as actually being a Stanley Cup threat, as far as being a threat in the East, the Red Wings they're a damn good. I think they're a good team. I think they're a good to a very good team as it stands. But as an actual Cup contender, I think we were still a little ways off. But the Dew says Tigers get a couple bats. Totally agree.
100%.
The free agency, we talked about that last time we streamed. Yep. A lot of the free agency bats, they're pretty much gone. You got a bunch of 37, 38-year-old guys out there, kind of journeymen right now. There's not really any big names right now. The Tigers will probably have to trade for somebody. But we'll see. I'm not sure how they could really bolt. I mean, unless they really like irrelevancy is good for the Lions. Yes, it definitely is. But yeah, we'll see what the Tigers do in the months leading up to the season, because we got Tigers baseball coming up. It's already spring training, man.
It is.
It's already spring training. They played
Hermdo did a video already that'll be dropping shortly.
About the Tigers getting totally ass rammed by the Yankees, but they've also tied with the Orioles 4-4, and they also lost to the Minnesota Twins. I might make some videos about that, talking about some stuff, but we also should discuss like any possible, offensive additions to the Tigers. Who else they could bring in? Because
I think spring training too, Hermdo, the score isn't really relevant. It's individual developments and okay, we know seriously, okay. Back in the day, spring training was whatever, but now, okay, Kevin McGonigal, we
Max
know
Clark.
We're looking at guys just going, okay, how did you perform in that situation? Not even in that game. How did you look at in that at bat, right, with that count where it's at? How are you just looking in general? You're really looking at small sample sizes in spring training. You're not picking apart a whole game. So I want to get everybody's mindset to become a little different, because it's been a while since, as Tigers fans, that we've looked at spring training and said, okay, let's get a pulse versus let's just let the season start, right? So bar got raised this year for the Tigers, especially with the rotation we just threw out. I saw some people on Facebook and the Bleacher Book and the Twitter pages talk about okay, why not Max Scherzer? He's unsigned. Get him out there for a 10-year, $8.5 million 1-year deal and bring him back. Right. So everybody's just excited for someone to go to the Tigers right now. So I see Tigers window opening up a little bit as far as that relevancy again. I still think it's Pistons and Lions at the top, but I think the next big thing we're going to see with the Lions is a restructuring. We're going to see Gibbs' contract. That's probably your next big Lions move. Max Crosby's not coming here. Myles Garrett probably is not getting traded here. Marcus Davenport better not get re-signed here. But I really think that we're going to see a Gibbs contract signing, and it's going to be one of those off seasons where, Brad Holmes is going to be looking to rebuild in the trenches. So Lions fans, stick tight. It's not going to be any blockbuster news, guys.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, they also got to re-sign Sam Laporta and Brian Branch and our good buddy Jack Campbell. So you're going to have to shell out some of the big boy money for those guys, but they definitely deserve it. But don't pay running backs. Oh, we have the Mike Valenti school of thought here. Don't want to give Jahmyr Gibbs any money, but that's one of the things. I was going to bring that up. I mean, just
but
you pay the guy. What do you do?
It's what you pay him, right? We'll see. I personally think Gibbs is more than just a running back to us. I really do. He's
Hmm.
kind of an all-inclusive weapon that very
Yeah.
similar to St. Brown when on the field is dangerous. Now, he is way more dangerous when he's paired up with a David Montgomery. Now, I will agree, a guy that plays Montgomery's role has a cap that he can be paid, right? But
Yeah.
but um for everything Gibbs does in the running back position, wide receiver position. Not too bad at blocking either. He can handle his own. Every Lions player can block for the most part. Um,
Yeah.
I'll see we'll see what that contract looks like, but I do think they'll end up paying him some
Yeah.
money. I do. I just think it'll happen.
I think so. Really, I think when you got a guy like Gibbs, I mean, I don't know if you put him on the level of like Derrick Henry or Marshawn Lynch or something like that, or like, but it's just he is something special, and I'd hate to see him walk away. You
Yeah.
know, that's just me
Well,
being a homer, I guess. But yeah,
and that's normally something I will say. You don't pay running backs, but I don't think he's just your average. And I get why you don't pay running backs. I just don't
hmm
think he's that running back. He's not that running back that you don't pay. There are a few that will get
no,
paid,
no,
and he's one of them, right? That's just my
yeah,
personal opinion. Obviously, right
yeah, I
now
agree.
the timing is right. And dude, I just think there's so much more of a ceiling for him than what we've seen.
Yeah,
Now
he's definitely one of those guys. Yeah,
he is.
he's
He's a game
definitely a
changer.
he is a game changer. He's a game changer, and maybe we can make an exception for that rule. I'll probably have to listen to Valenti when this talk comes up, but see what our favorite Italian has to say about it. But we need to see Branch post injury. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, yeah,
Want to give these
yeah.
guys, but yeah, now Lions are entering a stage. A lot of these guys are off their rookie contracts. They're making the big money now. We talked about the guys that are going to get paid. We talked about Amon-Ra St. Brown, Panay Sewell, getting their cash, getting their money. Um, but yeah, it's entering a phase now where you're not going to have a whole lot of flexibility going forward, and you probably won't be able to bring like a big game changing name into Detroit. So you got to work with what you got and kind of add some supplementary pieces here and there. But it's kind of a new dimension for the Lions. You got some great players locked up, definitely, and hope you got the flexibility to sign some more guys, but sign some more of the guys already on the squad rather. But yeah, it's kind of get into this territory where you know you can't adjust, you can't make the moves, the big blockbuster moves you need to make. When you had the flexibility before, but um, and it's like in that scenario, if you come up to me, and I know Dude's been screaming about it in the chat, thank you, Dude, but it's like, would Jameer Gibbs be the odd man out? I mean, would you save that spot for somebody else? I mean, would you add another player? Would you replace him with the draft? But I don't know. I mean, I hate to cut him loose. I mean, he's just that kind of guy. I don't know. Maybe that's just me being a homer. Lions need to rebuild the O line and D line. If you can pressure the quarterback, it doesn't
Sounds
matter how
like
good your
Hitch is
secondary is.
talking.
Yeah,
Oh shit! Speaking of
Hitch.
Hitch, he's been upstairs for like the past 58 minutes. He's probably on beer number
Oh,
68. I got to remember to bring
good
him
old
down
Hitch.
before this ends. I got a spot warmed up for him. The other microphone's here.
Yeah,
He's been up there just getting schlockered with the dog. I think he's
no shit.
yeah. So we'll see. We'll see if he. Well, we just got to remember to bring him down here. See if he can walk down the stairs.
Yeah,
But
get his ass down here. I want to see him.
we could do the Lions. You're right. I don't disagree that they need to build the O line and D line, and that's why, like we're saying, guys, Hermdo and I are saying you're really not going to see a big blockbuster free agency. Don't get excited about this, right? I seriously think you're going to see one or two guys get locked up to a contract extension. I think what you're going to see in the draft is it's going to be boring as fuck. You're going to see him draft the first pick, the first round draft pick. The Lions are going to pick this offensive lineman from this big powerhouse school. And with the second
Yeah,
round pick, they're drafting this offensive lineman from a big powerhouse school. And then after that, it's going to be defensive end, corner, safety, defensive end. You'll see this random wide receiver in the sixth round. Like that's what you're going to see. You're not going to see this
yeah,
draft where everyone's salivating because we're at a point right now where our Super Bowl window and how we identify it as is there's just pieces missing. And they're going to go out
yeah,
and just build that line and build those trenches back up. But you don't need star power. We have star power. What we need is depth, right? We need depth in the trenches.
Yeah.
We have star power. Star power can only take
Yep.
you so far, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can have a nice fast race car, but if you don't have a pit crew, if you don't have the right parts, if you don't have the right conditions and setup, and you're not maintaining it right, you're not going to win races. And
Yeah.
that's really what this team comes down to. Now, the
Yeah.
Pistons are on a whole nother caliber of a championship run right now, where their window is basically open on nobody
It's
knows
shot
how to.
wide open.
Yeah, because nobody knows how to fucking defend this team. So
No.
obviously, you give a couple years of the Cade, Duran, Bickerstaff coaching combo, and teams are going to give them challenges. Don't get you wrong, but
Yeah.
this is that fun season for the Pistons where it's just fucking full throttle. You're going to win every race because everyone didn't realize how good you were at your parts and your maintenance and all this stuff.
Yeah.
You're doing something a little different. So I just love how maybe they're going to restart the 90s or the old school era of basketball where you see a lot of points within the paint. So there's a lot of good things going on right now, Hermdo, as we hit this 1 hour mark of our stream in the city of Detroit. Not only do we have fans like the Dew who come here and hang out and give us some comments, even though I harass him and I bother him on their show, which if you haven't watched, go watch Doctor and the Dew. It's pretty funny. They're out streaming on the weekends, and you can watch them do all their crazy wrestling stuff and hop in the chat like I do and just start chaos and see who bites.
Absolutely.
Kind of like what Sage does to us.
Yeah, good old Bobby with his 14 burner accounts talking to me about ancient St. Isaac Jogues lore from 1993.
Yep.
So
that's Bob. Hey, but you know what? That's called a diehard fan, and I appreciate that. So
gotta love Bobby.
And then, I brought it up at the beginning of this show too, Hermdo, was the hoodie giveaway. So
yes,
we're trying to get to 500. Obviously, once we hit 500, all the subscribers that followed the rules and put their name down, and we pull it out of a hat. We say, here's your hoodie, take your hoodie. So trying to give you guys something free. We're trying to get to 500. I told them the analytics always tell me that we have these fans that listen week in and week out, but they just haven't subscribed. And I know they don't know how important that is. I know they just go, well, no, I listen to you every week. I'm like, I know, but are you subscribed? Right? So think about that. Hit the fucking button.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. Come on in. This is a fun little thing we got going on here. All sorts of crazy stuff is happening. Who knows who's going to be in the chat? Are we going to be talking about Epstein or Israel? Are we going to be talking about my time at St. Isaac Jogues with freckle-faced huckster Mike Lavati or our good buddy Bobby Lesage or paranoid schizophrenic Alex Trombley? Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. We'll see who we talk about. What member of what upperclassman of ours from high school will turn out to be a pedophile next. So
that's so fucked up. Sorry.
We should run like a tool. Who else from the class of 2002 will diddle kids? But good Lord, some real characters, man.
Well, and that's what I was saying too. I'm glad you brought that up in a real funny, weird, dark way, which I appreciate. This is definitely more than sports. So obviously this started as a Detroit Lions podcast with Hitch and Bone, and then it turned into me and Hitch, and then it turned into let's talk about other stuff because we just started talking about other stuff. And I've been running into a lot of non-primarily sports people who are friends of mine, ours too. And I'm just like, hey, listen, and also give us stuff you want us to talk about. So we do, obviously, like you said, Hermdo, on the back end of some of these episodes, we've gotten into some crazy shit, whether it's Father Ron, I think was his name. We talked about him from St.
Father
Isaac's.
Ron.
Right. And I just think it would be cool if we branched out and started talking about other things and had some guests on because eventually it's all Detroit. We're just Detroit weirdos.
Definitely. We could branch out a little bit. We could start varying our content a little bit. Maybe we could make another channel. Maybe we could do this. Yeah. Maybe we could feature some stuff on my channel. I just made a video. There was this dude. I don't know if you watched the video yet, but there's this guy. He's like a schizophrenic dude. I see him on TikTok. His name is Boss Hog Ellie or Relly or something like that. But he was going on about Zoran Mamdani, the socialist Muslim mayor of New York City. Apparently his mother, who was like an Indian filmmaker, was in the Epstein files. Allegedly, there was photos of him, photos of her allegedly with Jeffrey Epstein, but it turned out to be AI. It was a bunch of fake bullshit. So I don't know. This is just a bunch of rumors, conjecture, conspiracy. None of this is real, but this guy was walking down the New York City streets screaming into a megaphone about this kind of shit. It's pretty wild. I talked about it. I kind of just rambled incoherently for a while, but go watch that on the Hermdo channel. Search Hermdo on YouTube. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. But yeah, we got all sorts of fun stuff going on. Mark is opening a new window. What will this window be? It is still buffering. Here I am. Oh, there we go again. But
sorry, that was my bad.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
I meant to share your channel, Hermdo.
Oh, that's okay. No problem. No worries. But yeah, we talk about all sorts of stuff. I took like a month off because it just like I felt kind of overwhelmed. There we are. We got some schizo rants. You can see I talked about Prince Andrew getting arrested. I talked about some other stuff. I made a short talking about. Yeah. Yeah, all sorts of stuff. I made a lot of videos about Candace Owens and how I think she's kind of batshit insane, but
I love Candace Owens.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff. And then I got some other shorts on there. I got some comedy stuff on there. One of those videos, yeah, we talk about my workout routine and all sorts of stuff. I got some comedy on there. I got some politics stuff. I got some beer reviews on there. I got all sorts of stuff on there. But I talked about the Epstein scandal for a little bit. I spoke about Minneapolis, watched some footage from there. There's some videos just me, like the alternate realities things. That's just me rambling and ranting about bullshit. We talk about, Minneapolis. I made a lot of videos about Minneapolis, and obviously you can see 9 views, 12 views. They're really blowing up. But remember J.D. Vance, I guess some transgender terrorist was throwing rocks through his window at his Ohio home, apparently. But
that was some laughing so hard at that because it's just
it's ridiculous. There's just all sorts of crazy shit going on. It's kind of crazy not to talk about it, but
no, it isn't.
I got 650 subscribers. I'm gonna deliver them the best content ever, baby.
Well, that's what we're trying to do here, man. We built this, and you've been an instrumental part, right? While Hitch is upstairs getting schlobnackered, you've been a big part at stepping up and giving us content consistency. You're here every week.
Yep.
We're doing this. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it because we're hitting that point where I want to hit 500, and then I want to hit 1,000, right? And then once we hit that spot, I feel like the world will start to see us a little bit more. We know how the YouTube algorithm works.
Yeah.
Right? Once you're under that sub 500, they kind of bury you at the bottom of the channels. And during some post-game Lions games, we've had a lot of weird, non-Detroit people pop into our chat. And I want to start seeing that more often. So help us get out there. If you know us, if you don't know us, like and subscribe. We're on TikTok too. I think we'll eventually start going live on TikTok. I haven't really mapped in the TikTok live atmosphere yet. But we have a pretty big following on TikTok, Hermdo, and some fans out there, and I definitely want to start going live on there because I feel like you get way more engagement on the
TikTok's good for that.
Yeah,
TikTok's good for that. I've got a couple videos of mine, just these goofy comedy skits I was doing, but they got a few thousand views and a lot of comments. I got some, goofy stuff on there on my channel on Hermdo86 at on TikTok. I haven't uploaded much in the last year or so. I kind of took a break. I was uploading pretty regularly for a while. Then I'm kind of just like, let's branch out into other kind of stuff. I want to focus more on YouTube. But yeah, TikTok's good. I mean, there's a lot of brain rot on there. There's a lot of absolute dog shit slop on there, but for the most part, TikTok can be pretty fun. Can be pretty fun. And you talk to a younger audience. Like everybody commenting on my videos is like in their late teens, early 20s. They're calling me a chopped unk. They're calling me chuggy. They're saying I'm cooked. They're saying I have no riz, but that's okay. I still love them anyway. It's all good. Well, I don't know what these words mean.
Neither do I. Don't worry. And I've got a couple that live in my house, so it usually comes with a manual. I lost the manual. I don't know how to translate. But no, you're right. TikTok is interesting. We like our YouTube family. We've got a Spotify family too. So if you have a Spotify, all of our episodes that are live on YouTube, what I do is I go and I chop them up and I tighten them up and I edit them a little bit and I throw some pizzazz on them, and then I put it on Spotify the next day, and those are actually doing shockingly well. So go check us out there. Check us out wherever. And if you think there's somewhere we need to be, you let us know, right?
Yeah.
If you think there's an app we should be on that you listen to your podcast on, or we have a Twitch. I set that up. I don't really follow it too hard. I know it's more for gamers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is what it is. But we do have some love on that side.
Yeah. Sure.
I just
Absolutely.
I'm having a lot of fun, brother. It's fun.
Yeah, it's good times. Good times. You know, it's good. It's good building from the ground up. You go kind of creating your own space, kind of making a name for yourself. You know, making your kind of content. You know, having some fun. I don't want to. I don't want this to feel like work, and some days it does.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. That was disgusting.
Yeah.
That was horrible. I apologize. But yeah, well, you kind of making stuff for yourself, and I make videos, and I watch them sometimes. But I'm enjoying it. Some days it does feel like, oh fuck, I got to get up and talk about this kind of shit. But I'm not the most consistent video maker, but I try to put something out there for people to enjoy, and it might get a couple thousand views, it might get 5 views, but either way, I'm still enjoying making it, and we can branch out into different kinds of content. We can talk about whatever you want to, but I'll share some in the future. We can maybe have a little bit of a confab, and we can talk about like new ways, new bizarre, uncomfortable ways to expand the channel and get ourselves in a lot of trouble with YouTube and all the.
So we could get shadow
people,
banned. We could start talking about some of the stuff I listen to on a daily basis. We can go full Ian Carroll mode, which I'm okay with. I think
oh
I'm
yeah,
ready for it. I really do, seriously, because like the dude said, Twitch is for everything. I think the fan forum's for everything. Why not just hold back on sports, right? We've got I don't want to say music and movies, because those aren't things anymore. It's not real. Like music's not real, and movies it's all made up. It's all fake.
Yeah.
So we could get into that and kind of how the culture's changing into creating your own content versus kind of going out and buying the content that's been set out there for us. And I saw some stuff out there that our friend Alex Trombley would like, where they said, okay, streaming is dead, right? You need to own your DVDs and your VCRs, because when they take the internet away from you, I'm thinking to myself, dude, they take the internet away from us. You think I'm going to be watching old reruns of Dukes of Hazzard on DVD? Like, that's my whole point.
I will.
Well, and that's another argument I'd like to make is like you're feeding right into the fucking machine, dude, into the matrix, where you're just going to go out there, screw them. You make and create what you want. So I say we do it. I say we start talking about it. Maybe we do. I don't know if we do it on this.
Sure.
Channel. We call it something else, but I don't know. The doctor and the do, if you're listening, you chime in. What do you think we should do? Do we expand the fan forum to talk about ancient technology and freaking politics and how we need to get out of NATO? And do we go that route? And how Bob Dylan is a reptilian who sold his soul to the devil, and he technically can't even play music. What route?
I got a backup. We could use my We could use my main channel. I got a backup channel I never use. We could start slapping some stuff on there. We could start streaming about some conspiracies, a couple times a week or whatever, man. We get into this kind of stuff pretty heavy, But, sports, I love talking sports. I love, jabbering about the Wings and the Tigers and all that stuff. But, some days just like, I was thinking about this kind of stuff. Let me take these damn glasses off. They're killing me. But,
said avoid politics.
Hermdo in the dark. I can't look at that fucking avoid politics.
Okay.
Well, so, I don't know. I do get political sometimes, but
here we go. You guys should talk more 90s.
You guys should talk more 90s hockey. Where's the little guy who used to host? He looked like a foot that's smoked.
Yeah,
he does.
He does. He's upstairs in my kitchen.
Oh Lord.
Oh
yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Christ. Oh my God.
God damn it, that's funny.
So, Hermdo in the closet. Take your glasses off, hippie.
Oh, be nice.
So
be nice, Herb.
This is exactly where I was going. Conspiracies are good. I have a conspiracy.
Yes.
that nobody is talking about, right? Um, it's
Okay.
the Family Matters show, right? You know Carl Winslow,
Yes.
Reginald
Carl
Bell
Winslow,
Johnson.
Urkel.
Yep.
Yes.
This is not the same person that we grew up watching. This right here. This Reginald Bell Johnson is not real. Okay, say that with me 2 or 3 times. Okay, and
He does
those
look AI in that picture.
and if you watch
He
the
does look.
interviews with him, it fits right into the whole he was cloned, right? Or sold his soul.
He was
And that's not real.
okay.
I watched a podcast where he's talking to the Family Matters people, and it was a Family Matters rewatch, which is only on one specific channel, which is real weird. But I'm going to start this
Yeah.
conspiracy theory that Reginald Bell Johnson is a clone, and that is not the same Carl Winslow
Yeah.
that we dealt with, which makes me think how many fucking Bell Johnsons were there in the 90s when he was making all those movies.
Yeah, there looks like a link there from they referenced Dave Chappelle. It was like a Facebook link, and Dave Chappelle might have been talking about this. I don't know. I don't really followed Dave Chappelle recently, but I have not heard about the Reginald Bell Johnson.
Well, there's an argument, Hermdo, that the Dave Chappelle that we know is not the same Dave Chappelle, right? Jim Brewer on his on the Brewer podcast has said something of just like that is not the same guy that I used to know. So like there is a legit conspiracy out there that they're cloning these celebrities and they're killing off the originals or sending them somewhere.
Yeah.
And then you've got you have what we think the small grays are, basically these AI robots who aren't real. Like at the end of the day, they're just not real. And that's what Bell Johnson is to me.
That's been speculation. I've heard that from various conspiracy channels. Like a lot of these celebrities are dead. A very famous conspiracy is that Paul McCartney, the real Paul McCartney, died way back in the 60s, and they replaced him with somebody else. They replaced him with another guy. I don't remember what his name was, but like allegedly the Beatles frontman got replaced at some point because the original Paul McCartney died of an overdose or something. I'm not sure how all that works, but I'm just kind of going from memory. I'm not going to claim to be very educated on it, but there's apparently clues in the what album was it? The one where they were walking across Abbey Road. But there's apparently clues because like they were each playing like it was like a funeral procession across the street, and Paul was the dead man, and like George was the pallbearer, or Ringo was the pallbearer, George was the undertaker, and John was like Jesus or something. I don't remember what that all was about, but yeah, apparently that was like the signifier, kind of like, Paul's actually dead. This is another guy, but I don't know. I've heard that rumor before, like Paul is dead. That's pretty famous there, but like over the topic of like celebrities being replaced by like clones. I've heard that a lot. I can't remember what channel was it. Was it there's two conspiracy channels. I used to watch these guys. There was Mod Tricka and Ahuevo, and those are both guys on YouTube. And I watched their content pretty regularly for a while. I haven't watched them in a little bit. I've kind of taken a break from conspiracy stuff. But they featured a lot of this kind of stuff. There's all sorts of this conspiracy shit on TikTok. They feature a lot of TikToks, a lot of Instagram reels, a lot of short form video. But there's a lot of speculation. I mean, like everybody, like, you know, there's all this talk. Like apparently Avril Lavigne might have died of a drug overdose back in like 2003, and she got replaced by a clone. Like, and you kind of think about like some of the celebrities in America now, in like the public consciousness now. I mean, you want to tell me Taylor Swift isn't a clone? You want to tell me Sabrina Carpenter isn't a clone? Where do these people come from? They're like Disney like slaves throughout their teens, and all of a sudden like they start blowing up. I don't know, man, but there's a lot of speculation about this kind of stuff. Like, where do these people come from? I mean, are they grown in a lab? Because a lot of people you don't even hear about. And there's like a whole like you go on Twitter and it's like you think you're pretty well versed in this stuff. Granted, I'm 40 years old. I'm an unk, so I don't know about all this like pop star shit. But it's like every week I'm learning about a new celebrity that's like a singer that has like 100 million followers on YouTube,
No, that's
and
why
they
it's not real. It's not. They give
yeah, it's
you
not
an
real. It's like, where do these
identity.
people come from?
They give you a following.
Yeah,
That's not. It's just not real, and the veil is completely lifted, right?
yeah.
To the
It's like
point where we know that there's no point of watching Saturday Night Live anymore to see who the best comedian is and to see who's going to be on because it's not real. They're just some garbage. It's garbage in, it's garbage out. It's
yeah, yeah.
just
It's like who?
it's
Yeah,
okay. I'm going to give it to you right now. It's if we had AI and we had the best AI and we made our own TV shows because that's
hmm
what they're doing. They're not using real talent. They're just using clones, right? Um,
yeah,
it's not something where I think we used to think it was like a level playing field. These guys got there on their merits, right, or on their
hmm
talent, and now Hermdo, dude, look at you and I. We're people are watching us. We've got a couple hundred people that watch us here and there. What the fuck do we need? I don't even watch TV anymore. I'm
yeah.
constantly on YouTube looking for
Me
stuff to
too.
watch of real
Me too.
content.
Yeah,
I don't need to watch. Sorry, rest in peace, James Vanderbeek. But I don't need to watch Dawson's Creek over and
yeah.
over. The Office is funny, but it's just background noise, honestly, in Comedy
hmm
Central. So I just that raw talent isn't there anymore. And when you do see it, right, it sticks out like a sore thumb. I.e., you're Shane Gillis, right? They
Yeah,
screwed up on him big time, and that was kind of like, hmm, where you start to see, okay, maybe I don't need these guys to kind of dictate who I watch, who I listen to. Same thing with music, man. I can't tell you anything new. Right? I'll tell you what. You had a resurgence of country music, and then you had this guy Jelly Roll come along, and they're saying
yeah,
Jelly Roll is the next Epstein. There's a whole dark side to him. Go look at him. He's
yeah. I heard a bunch of rumors
140
about him. Yeah,
pounds. He looks weird. You look up him versus Ryan Upchurch, and you start to see this whole kind of like passing of the torch. Show up at your house with $100 million and try to get him to go sign his soul away, and all this
yeah.
these girls coming out saying that Jelly Roll's bar in Nashville is basically where they're getting drugged and they're getting trafficked. But
Jesus.
again, when he came on the scene, he won. It gave him everything that year.
Yeah,
He won everything, and it was like if you believe into this whole conspiracy that it's satanic Hollywood and you sacrifice your soul to them and in return they give you everything. That's what he did. He went from being a fat felon who nobody knew to having his wife Bunny to having this super skinny body all of a sudden, these fake
yeah,
teeth and every award and every song with a played everywhere and it's like, okay, yeah, that checks the fucking box.
yeah. Who are these? I mean, who the fuck? I mean, I know a little bit about let the chat guide the convo. That's a good idea. Thank you. Guide us, Stu. Guide us, Stu. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know what we're doing. But anyways, yeah, but this Jelly Roll guy, I hadn't heard of him until a couple of years ago, and he was like a really big. He's like one of these guys that kind of like appeals to like kind of downscale Midwestern people. He talks a lot about his struggles with drugs and alcohol and finding God, and he's kind of like this guy. He appeals to kind of like conservative dummies, and a lot of people don't really like that. But he's kind of like, and he's doing appearances on Joe Rogan and all this shit, and it's just like, who the fuck is this guy? But he was talking about like opioid deaths and stuff, and which I can appreciate, coming out there, discussing that kind of stuff. But it all feels very manufactured. Like there's all these talking points these guys have to hit. There's all these like cultural trends these guys like represent or they kind of speak about in a way.
Yep.
And it all feels like it's very practiced, it's very rehearsed. It's designed to have like the maximum impact on like a specific group of people. Like you could say like there's some crossover between like MAGA and like Jelly Roll's audience. We need more greenbacks. Yes, we definitely do. We got to talk to the central bank. Talk to Jerome Powell about that. See if he'll lower the rates or raise the rates. I don't know how the fuck that shit works. We're going to do some quantitative easing. You're going to need a whole wheelbarrow full of fiat currency to buy a fucking loaf of bread. But yeah, like Jelly Roll, it seems very manufactured. It seems there's another guy named Morgan Wallen. I've never heard of this fucking guy. And there's that other guy. He's saying, oh, what was his name? That fucking guy. Oh Christ, song. What was his name? Benson Boone. And he's another guy that came out. I never heard of the guy, but he's like one of his songs had like 1 billion views. I think it was called Beautiful Things or something. It's just kind of like your standard, like template pop rock kind of cutesy TikTok shit. But yeah, people, he didn't really work out that well. He had his fans, but a lot of people were saying, like, you got a lot of woke people in there saying he was like borrowing aesthetics from like the gay community without paying them proper tribute or some bullshit, all this weird social conditioning shit. But he was another guy. He's just like, who the fuck is this guy? He comes out of nowhere. At least with like back in the day, back when, we were, getting into our teens and 20s, you had people like, Britney Spears coming out, and she at least, she turned,
Garrett.
Hollywood chewed her up and spat her out. But like, look at Justin Bieber.
Hold on. So you just named two people where the MK Monarch and on the MK Ultra is wearing off, and all the abuse is running rampant on Justin Bieber with all the Diddy stuff and the videos of James. What the hell is his name? Like telling him he looks cute when he's 13, and you just see all this creepy shit. So you're naming people where yes, they were the picked celebrities, and now they're completely mentally destroyed. That came out of nowhere, and yeah, it's just proving right. Type in Jelly Roll's name into TikTok, and you're going to find out that he's like the next Epstein, the next groomer. And then type him into Google, and he's the best thing since sliced bread. But everything he's in is black, and everything she's in is red. So it even fits this kind of satanic vibe that Hollywood has been throwing at us for the last 60 to 70 years. But it's like it's true, man. It's you just kind of have to be aware of it, and you have to call it out, right? You got Jay-Z, no different, not real. He's basically just consumed up the identities of every rapper he's put in jail, or every person he's killed or helped unalive. Sorry.
Use the right words.
They're not real. These people aren't real, and that's my point, right? Sean Carter, I don't know who the hell that guy is, right? And it's no different than these politicians. So, I think we've got a nice little conspiracy conversation that we can head our
definitely talk about that. Talk about like pop culture, mass culture, the kind of shit we're told to value, the kind of shit. But my point about like Britney Spears and like Justin Bieber, it's just like those people got put through the MK Ultra, public conditioning, psyop, glow up, fucking ringer, man. Look at Britney Spears. She lost her mind all those years ago, and she's still fucked up now. God knows how many times she got, essayed. But, look at Justin Bieber. God knows what he went through, and he's going through it now, too. He still has a big fan base, but he was a guy, he was like the cute little face of like pop music for way back in the 2000s, back in the late 2000s, making a name for himself. Then he's hanging out with Diddy and all this shit, and God knows what happened to him. But you get people like this kind of get chewed up and spat up by the system. I hear stuff about like the Malcolm in the Middle kids, Eric Purse Sullivan, I think he played Dewey. He's talking about how he was like posing in his underwear for like these Hollywood executives and stuff. This stuff goes deep, man. It's just like,
it goes deep. It's been going on forever, and people continue to choose to ignore it and turn a blind eye. And that's the biggest problem of why everyone's so afraid. They're like, what can we do? What can we do? I'm like, stop ignoring it, right? Start calling it out, start watching and start realizing it's a thing, so that, like we just mentioned, when it happens in our community, you're not shocked. It's shocking. It always will be shocking, but you'll go, yep, that tracked with that person. So I agree.
That's the reason I like YouTube, at least in a sense. I try to be a real person. Nobody's paying me. I'm never going to make money doing this shit. I'm never going to be able to make a living doing this shit. I'm just fucking around for fun. And if I get some love and some attention, which I desperately seek, so much the better. But at least there's real people on YouTube.
And a lot of them kind of The Dew and Herb Welch and Reginald Vell Johnson's Butthole. And Gar Loftus, and I don't even know what half these names are. Clegg Beater.
It's all Bobby Lesage. Bobby, get a fucking job. Get a job. Go for a road trip outside of St. Clair Shores. Go drive down I-94 for a while. Just, Bobby, you need to find a hobby, man. Get a hobby for Bobby. We'll get that trending on Twitter. # hobby for Bobby. Do something else besides creating 17 birders to call us homosexual slurs. But
oh God, Hermdo, I love it.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. All right, so
It's good
clearly
stuff.
this channel is going to go different ways.
Yes,
I'm going to start beginning to sign off. I think this was a very productive hour and a half that we watched. Uh,
absolutely.
us have a complete meltdown about Cade Cunningham, the Red Wings, the Lions, the Pistons. We talked about everything. We asked everybody to like and subscribe. I want to say thank you to Bobby and his 13 burner accounts. According to Bobby, he's dead. It's Todd McKenna now. Bobby's dead, and so
Okay.
is Garlex Dombly. I
Garlex
don't know.
Dombly.
So, like I said, we really appreciate your thoughts and your opinions. But yeah,
Oh Lord.
thanks again for joining us. If you haven't
Yes.
watched us yet, and this is your first time, holy shit, I can't believe you watched an hour and 29 minutes. But Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, we're everywhere. I'm out. Hermdo, you got anything?
Keep watching the skies and don't believe the government narrative on anything. We'll talk more about that later. We'll have all sorts of good stuff coming up for you. Subscribe, like us, join my channel for the love of fuck.
Yep.
Bobby, get a job. I'll see you later, man. I'll see you later. But that's all I got. I'll talk to you guys later.
Peace.